Hello, I'm Liz Lumley of Finextra, and today I'm speaking to Bharat Bhushan of IBM, and we're going to talk about investment management and specifically the wealth and asset management industries. So to start us off, give us a rundown of some of the main challenges you are seeing affecting this industry right now.
Liz, the wealth and the asset management industry is one of the biggest in the world. Just the pension assets alone are estimated to be around $36 trillion worldwide. And the UK asset management industry manages roughly around £5 trillion worth of assets. So it's a very big industry. And for that reason, very profitable and also very competitive as well. But if you pick up any major publication in this space, you see some hot topics making consistent headlines. For me, the biggest one is trust. And this is perhaps one of the most sensitive topics for the regulator, for the customers, as well as for the government as well. So clarity around charges and how some of the savings are being passed on back to the investors is really important. And we are seeing some major drives from the government to try and put a stop to this. The second issue, I think, is the gender gap. And that is also reflected in the pay gap as well.
And we're talking during the week of International Women's Day as well.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And I think there are certain issues that are not making big headlines at the moment, but will be important. Things like corporate social responsible investing, and making sure that the investors would start to pass on their responsible investing objectives as well as their financial objectives to the asset managers as well. And I think millennials as well.
Yep.
So everyone. There's
Always
been lots of
exactly.
There's been lots of profiling and reports done on what millennials expect from the world today. How are they different from the baby boomers and stuff like that? And I think that's one area where I'm not sure the asset and the wealth managers have truly understood what's needed to attract that new generation of customers. And then I think this discussion wouldn't be complete if I didn't mention regulation.
Yes.
But I don't look at regulation in isolation. I look at regulation in a triangle of regulation, customer demands, and technology drivers. And I think if you're just doing regulation, you're in catch-up mode. And I think what asset managers, wealth managers need to do is to see how they can use technology to meet increasing customer demands whilst also meeting regulations as well. So I've painted a very grim picture, but I think the industry is ripe and is screaming for transformation. And it's not just me saying it. You look at academics, thought leaders, and even highest levels of government organizations are also now asking for this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I think you touched on a lot of challenges that are not only facing the investment management world, but I think financial services, banking,
Indeed.
across the divide. You mentioned millennials, and that comes up a lot in these conversations, and sort of comparing them to Gen X and the baby boomers specifically. I mean, what can you go into more detail of what we're seeing from what millennials are expecting from the investment management industry?
So I think millennials present a huge opportunity to wealth and asset managers, but I'm not sure if they see it that way. I think, and the cliche around that millennials are born up with digital technology around them, and yes, that's true, but I don't think the conversation stops there. Millennials definitely want digital conversation, digital engagement, and they look for options, what's the right thing for them. But I think the real challenge here is what happens after the millennials, Generation Z or whatever they're going to be called. How they are growing up in an environment where there's lack of trust in the financial system, and they have a lot more options available. They firmly believe in shared economy, and so
whole alternative finance market.
Exactly, yeah. So I think we'll see an increasing trend in the peer-to-peer market, as well as crowdsourcing, crowdfunding projects as well. So I think the challenge for asset managers, wealth managers is not the millennials. They are here now, right? Think about how you can attract the generation after
It'd be interesting to see how they react when that generation starts looking at pensions and starts buying houses.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
so I wanted to look into the future now. I mean, what should asset managers really be doing now and in the next few years?
Okay. So I'd like to challenge the C-suite in asset and wealth managers to take away really three things from this conversation. Start with your client. Put your clients at the center of everything you do. Understand your customers. Use analytics to understand their behaviors, their patterns, perhaps even predict their needs before even they realize their needs. And I think that needs to be done first. How can you add value to your clients beyond just an asset allocation strategy? Can you realign your organization to put your clients' needs first? Even maybe change your employee incentives to realign with customer demands and customer preferences. So that's number one. I think also look at how technology can transform your business.
I think the asset management world is really sort of now looking more at technology and how it can, which I think they were a little bit behind maybe the sell side part of the financial services. Do you agree?
Absolutely, completely agree with that. So I think as an asset manager, wealth manager, you need to sit down and reimagine that employee engagement and client engagement. What would you do differently if you had nothing? I think because of M&A and acquisitions and stuff like that, they have lots of legacy systems. So I think if you sit down and think about how would you, if you had absolutely nothing in the organization and you were starting from scratch, what systems would you build? What platforms would you build? What mechanisms would you put in place to empower employees and engage your clients? Do a small proof of concept, but not over many months. Just do it for a week or 2 weeks with a technology partner. Many people believe that innovation in this industry will come from outside of the industry. So I think partnerships are going to be really important. And draw parallels from other industries as well. So take retail as an example. And Apple firmly believe in surprise and delight factor for their clients. How can asset managers and wealth managers surprise and delight their clients? These are some very big challenges that I've asked C-suites to consider. But I think if they need to stay relevant, they need to transform now.
So making dealing with your pension as fun as going to an Apple store.
Absolutely.
Possibly. Right, thank you very much.
Thank you.